some days I'm over the DTF sublimation hacks, and then other days I want to try it out again. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Patrice, and if this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. Please be sure to look at the other content, and if you enjoy that content, I would love it if you would stick around by clicking the subscribe button below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up before you leave the video. For my returning visitors and subscribers and members, hey y'all, welcome back. So today, we are going to be diving into the DTF sublimation hack once again, but this time we will be using a different film. So for today's project, we are going to be using a sublimation printer, but we will not be using sublimation paper. We are going to be using a special DTF film that is coated so that when it's pressed onto the shirt, it will make your image glow in the dark. Now, this is the first time that I'm trying this out. I have used the film before, the glow-in-the-dark glitter film, and I got that film from Kingdom DTF, and I used it in an actual DTF project. So I do have a DTF printer, and typically I don't perform the hacks because I do have the DTF printer. But for today, we are going to test out the glow-in-the-dark DTF film to see if it will work with the hack. Now, the film is a little thicker than the regular DTF film because it has a special coating on top of it. And so we're going to see if that will go through the printer, and we're going to see if it will actually press onto the shirt and glow in the dark. Now, we will be applying this to a 100% cotton tote bag from Michaels. So this is definitely a hack because you cannot sub onto 100% cotton. You cannot sub. Well, you can sub onto it, but the color is going to appear faded. And once you wash it, a lot of that color is going to wash right out. So in order to get sublimation onto materials that it's not intended for, all of these hacks are being developed, and some of them actually work amazingly. So today we are going to test it out. So let's get started and see if this is going to work.
Okay, so it seems as though I don't have much luck with getting DTF film through my sublimation printer because I literally had to try to get this through quite a few times, possibly 7 or 8 times before I just said, you know what, I'm going to do what I know usually works for me. And I went ahead and I placed a piece of painter's tape on the back of the film, and that eventually worked for me. That actually worked for me on the first go. I got this image from off of Creative Fabrica, and I printed the image out from Adobe Illustrator. The settings I used were Premium Presentation Matte, Best Quality, the same settings that I typically use for sublimation. I used those for the DTF film as well. But once I was able to just go ahead and troubleshoot, put that painter's tape behind or in the back of the film, that actually worked out pretty good for me. So just know that we're trying to get both this machine to do something that is really not intended for, and it's going to be a bit challenging. Hopefully not for you.
All right, y'all, so here is our print, and isn't it so cute? We're going to be putting this on a tote today, and the ink, sublimation ink, is already transparent. As you all see, you can pretty much see the desk through the ink, but I do like how it printed out, and the color parts of where that white is supposed to be, it really helps to bring out the bunny's face, even though the bunny's face is white. So I really like that. Remember, the sublimation printer does not print white. It's just the different colors and how the design is that kind of gives you that illusion that there is white ink there. I ended up having to place a piece of painter's tape on the back of our film so that it could be read through the printer. It would not go through it without it. And I was pretty surprised by that because this film is a little thicker than the other DTF film, and
even though it's transparent, it's not as transparent as the regular DTF film is. But we are going to go ahead and powder this. I am going to try something that I haven't tried before. I've had a few questions, so we have two different things that we're doing. We're going to be subbing, we're not subbing, but we're going to be placing this onto a cotton bag, and I'm going to place the powder on top, but I'm not going to cure the powder this time, because I've had several people tell me that you don't have to cure the powder on these prints, that it'll automatically, like once you press it, you should be fine. So we're going to test it out today also. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and place the powder on here. You want to make sure that you are practicing proper safety measures when dealing with DTF and using this adhesive powder. And this adhesive powder, the ink should still be a little bit wet on the film. On the regular film, it's more moist. This doesn't look like it's running or anything, because this part is very, very thick, and it's very textured. So we're gonna see. Hopefully it will work out, because this design is so cute. I think it's gonna make a very, very cute Easter bag, not necessarily a basket, but a cute Easter bag. So when you're dealing with DTF, the adhesive powder, you should have on gloves. You also should have a respiratory mask on, just for your own safety. All right, so I'm just coating the design with the powder. Okay, so we're going to just shake, shake, shake. And so I'm not going to cure it. This is going to be the first time that I've ever placed an image on top of a shirt or bag without curing it when I'm doing DTF. When I'm doing regular DTF, I always cure it, but I have had several people tell me they've done the sublimation hack and they have not used they have not cured it. So we're going to see what happens. So let's get ready to head over to our heat press. All right, y'all, so now we're under the heat press and we're going to get ready to prep our bag. And we're using a 100% cotton tote bag from Michaels. It is the Make Market brand. We will also be lint rolling the bag, because we want to make sure that our transfer adheres as it should. And today, since we're going to be doing something a little bit differently, I just want to make sure that nothing prevents it from doing what we want it to do. All right, so I'm going to pre-press this for about 10 seconds. All right, so these bags are different than the bags that we use when we're doing sublimation, because these are cotton. The other brands that we use are the Imagine brand, and those, they have cotton bags and they also have polyester bags for sublimation. But for this, we are using a Make Market 100% cotton tote bag. All right, guys, so now we're going to get ready to press this. Isn't that so cute? And I am going to just place it right here. And once you have it down and you kind of know where you want to place it, just leave it there, because you don't really want to shift it. If you decide to ever try it this way without curing it, you don't really want to shift your image with the powder on it, because that ink is probably still wet and that's not going to be good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and place a piece of parchment paper on top, and we are going to be pressing this at 325 degrees for 25 seconds. That's what I typically use, so we'll see how that works. So just take a peek at what those colors look like, and honestly those colors look great still, even though heat hasn't been applied. All right, so let's see what that looks like. Whoa, y'all, look at this color difference on here. Wow, that looks amazing. That looks absolutely amazing. So we are going to just let this cool off. We're going to do a cold peel, but those colors look beautiful. So let's just see. Do I have ink up here? Yep.
All right, so we're going to just let it cool off. But those colors popped. I mean, it looked good without the heat, but it looks even better now with the heat. All right, so let's see if this took, or if I need to just reprint it over and cure it as I usually do. So we're going to kind of peel it back a little. Some of it is on there and then some of it is not. So yeah, that didn't work out good for me. Some people it worked out really good for. They say that it works for them, but that process did not work all that well for me. So some of that ink is on there, some of it is not. So what I'm going to do is we're going to print it over. I'm going to cure it, and then we will see how that will come out. But it's not good. Yeah, no. So yeah, no. I still have a lot of ink here. But a lot of that ink did come off, so yeah, I'm not really impressed by this outcome. So we're going to print it again and go from there. So this is what that looked like with me curing it, or with me not curing it. So I ended up placing it under the heat press to cure it. And I have the heat press set at 380 degrees. And I removed any pressure because I am going to clamp it down, but I don't want it to touch. So right here is perfect. If you see, there's still enough room for my finger to go into the heat press. So it's not closed all the way down. It is raised a bit. So it's almost like I'm making it so that it presses a thicker material. All right, so it's 2 minutes, and now that looks a lot better, right? So the color has already been activated for the ink while we were curing it, and so this is what we have. So I don't know if the issue is curing it or whether or not the issue is it being able to pick up the powder with the sublimation ink, but we will see. But it does looks a little scaly, so that's typically what we want it to look like. The only part that I don't really see that effect here is around the ears, so I am going to like sit this under here just a little longer. All right, so let's check on the top part of the ears, and they're looking okay. I'm just not really sure. It's looking okay, but I can't really tell if there's powder on that top part of the ear. Maybe that's just not enough ink for it. So we're going to get ready to press this onto the tote. All right, guys, we're ready for round 2. And for this press, I am going to place a piece of butcher paper on the bottom of the press because we are going to be turning this design around, or turning the bag onto the opposite side, and we don't want any of that ink to get onto the press. Remember, this is sublimation ink, and you don't want to reactivate that ink and have it go onto the bottom of your heat press. So we have that placed there. I am just going to get my lint roller and just lint roll the area. I'm not going to pre-press it because we've pressed this quite a bit already. We're going to get ready to place our image on top. I'm going to go ahead and remove the painter's tape. And hopefully this will come out the way that it should. But it is nice and cured. This part, it's super transparent, so I'm not sure if this part of the ear is really going to press, but we will see. All right, we're going to place a piece of parchment paper on top. And if you want to take down your image, you can. I'm not going to, but because we're just testing this out. Now I need to go ahead and increase the pressure on the machine again. Right, that should be probably more than enough. All right, guys, so it has cooled off and we are going to peel it. I'm just going to start from here. Okay, it looks a little better. It looks like the areas where there's supposed to be like some white, those areas did not necessarily do well, or maybe there's no white supposed to be there. Let's see. Alright guys, so I ended up moving it away from the heat because I just felt like the bottom of the plate was affecting me being able to peel it off. But already I've noticed, like in certain areas where there's white or the faux white color, those areas are more problematic because I just think that there's not a lot of ink that was laid down in that area, and that could possibly be the reason why the color is not sticking in that area. But for the most part, we're going to peel. As you see, that is where, you know, it's a little white there. Also, I noticed here. So maybe if the colors are more solid, then maybe it would work better in those areas. I'm just peeling that off. So this is what we have left on the sheet, and here we still have feels like the ink and not really the adhesive. So the major problem is that the adhesive really can't stick to that. So this is what we have from the transfer, and this is what we have from the press. Now it doesn't look too bad. It's still, you know, I could still use this for a basket. I am going to press it one more time just to give it a final press on top. But this is definitely not for this type of print. So of course I probably need to try to print something else out and see if that works. So let's try printing out a name. So I'm just going to go ahead and do another press. And so I really think that, one, it's not meant for this, but I also think the major issue is the picture itself. These areas don't look too bad, but any place where there was like white, but that still doesn't even look bad. All right, so that second press is done, and it feels good. It does feel good, but that's what we got, y'all. That's what we have. All right, y'all. So I'm going to do another test with just a solid color to see how that works. And we are just going to be placing a name at the bottom. Could do it on the side, but I think the bottom will be better. Just going to put it here, and I did not cure this one either, so we will see how that works. I'm going to place parchment paper on top, and we're going to press. All right, so we are going to let this cool off a bit. and then we will peel it. All right, so we let this cool off, and so let's see how it comes out. I must say, I don't think that this, especially for images like this, is good. It does look pretty decent though. It doesn't look bad, but as far as the glow in the dark effect, I think you need some white inside of the image, and you can only get that with DTF. So let's go ahead and peel this off. All right, and just looking at it, so let's go back and retract something. So I did not cure this. Okay, so I didn't cure the powder on this print, on the name, and I think that was pretty good. So all the coating did come off. It stuck to the bag. So I guess it just depends on the print, the color, whether or not it will work. So we are going to turn the lights out so that we can check and see whether or not this will show. So let's go ahead. We're going to press the name a second time. So this did come out good. We're just going to press that bottom part of the name, or of the bag, for that second press. So for those of you who said you can press this without curing, it did work for me. All right, and so I must say that this actually looks really, really cute. So let's see if this is going to glow in the dark at all. Again, I really think that the colors, based on the actual DTF print that I did with this, the white is what you really see with the glow to it. So we're going to check it out. Okay, y'all, so we are done with our bag. It does look a little vintage, but I actually do like it. So now we just want to shut the lights out and see whether or not it will glow. Okay, so there is a little glow effect to the bag. Not that major. I want you guys to check out my other video where I used it with DTF ink, but there is a little bit of glow factor to the image. All right, y'all, so we are done with this DTF Sublimation glow in the dark hack. And would I do this again? Probably not. Now, the outcome wasn't what I wanted it to be. I do like the outcome. I like how it looks, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. And from using my DTF printer with this film, I see how beautiful that the prints can be. I see how nicely it can glow in the dark. So to have that and then to come to this and see how this worked, yeah, I'll just stick to the DTF printer for this type of film. But this is what we had first, and some of the image did go nicely onto the tote. The problem, I think, is the white areas, and I think that's what really helps the image glow in the dark is the white ink, because in the other image that I had when I used my DTF printer with it, it glowed very, very nicely in the dark. So this is the first side, and as you guys saw, we had a lot of lifting. All the ink didn't stay down, but that second press came out a little better, and this is the one that we cured. So we didn't cure this side, we just went ahead and pressed it onto the tote, but on this side we actually cured it prior to us pressing it onto the tote, and it did come out a little bit better. Of course, that area where the white is, it did not come out all that good, but you can still see clearly the bunny on the tote. Now the bottom where we have the name, I didn't cure that, so I applied the adhesive to the back of the print and I simply just pressed it, and y'all, that worked beautifully. It worked beautifully, but as we saw, it did glow a little bit, not as much as I would have wanted it to glow in the dark, but it did have a glow, like it did glow a little in the dark. But I still think that this is super cute, y'all. I love this image. It is so adorable. And the colors, the sublimation colors look beautiful. Now, if you are interested in any of the sublimation ink that I used, I do have this sublimation ink inside of my Etsy shop. I will have a link listed in the description if you are interested in that. I will also have a link listed to the DTF glow-in-the-dark film that I used for today's project and test. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing by clicking the red subscribe button below. In addition, head over to Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok and join the Craftable Things community there on those platforms as well. But that's it for today, y'all. Thank you all so very much for watching. Until next time.